Hello everyone, I'm Hrutika Pakhale, Executive Officer at ISA-VESIT, and I welcome you all to the next tutorial of our Python playlist. So sometimes we want to play on our phones when it is Sunday or we have a holiday. Sometimes we order ice cream if the day is sunny. So all these are decisions which depend on a condition being met. So in Python programming too, we must be able to execute instructions on a condition being set. There come situations in real life when we need to make some decisions which are based on some other decisions. So we decide what we should do next. Similar situations also arise in programming where we need to make some decisions, and based on these decisions we will execute the next block of code. So decision making statements in programming languages decide the direction of the flow of the program execution. Now let's see what is if statement. So if statement is the most simple decision making statement. It is used to decide whether a certain statement or block of statements will be executed or not. That is, if a certain condition is true, then a block of statement is executed, otherwise not. Now let's see how if statement works. So I'll first assign a value to a variable. Let's say a is equal to 13. Then I'll write a condition that if a is greater than 15 colon print true. Now let's run this code. See, I got no output, that is our a is not greater than 15, hence I have received no output. Now if I change the value of a to let's say 20 and then I run the code, let's see, I got true. So the if statement tells us that if the condition is true, then it executes the block of statement. So here the condition is true, that 20 is greater than 15. So print true is executed and we got the output true. Now let's see what is if-else statement. So the if statement alone tells us that if a condition is true, it will execute a block of statements, and if the condition is false, it won't. But what if we want to do something else if the condition is false? So here comes the else statement. We can use the else statement with if statement to execute a block of code when the condition is false. Now let's see how if else condition works. So let's take an example. Age is equal to int input. Let's take input from the user. Enter your age. Then let's write condition if age is greater than 34. Now let's see how multiple if statements work. So I'll write a is equal to 12. Then first condition, if a is greater than 3, then print the value is greater than 3. Next condition, if let's say a is greater than 20, then print the value is greater than 20. Third if condition is if a is greater than let's say 40, then we'll print the value is greater than 40. Now else will print the value is not greater than 3 or 20, 3, 20 and 40. Now let's run this code. So the value of a is 45 here. So the first condition says if a is greater than 3. So yes, our a is greater than 3, so we got the output as the value is greater than 3. So it satisfies the first condition, it satisfies the second condition as well as the third condition. So we got all these outputs. Now if I change the value of a to, let's say, 24, and now I run this code. So I got, so the first condition is satisfied, the second condition is also satisfied, but the third condition is not satisfied. Hence it has jumped to the else condition and it has printed the value is not greater than 3, 20 and 40. So now let's see what are Elif statements. So if else and Elif statements are a multi-way decision taken by a program due to certain conditions in our code. Now Elif in Python means else if. An if statement can be chained together with a lot of these Elif statements followed by an else statement. Let's see an example. Let's take a is equal to 12. Then we'll write our if condition. If a is let's say greater than 3, then we'll print the value is greater than 3. Elif a is, let's say, greater than 17, then we will print the value is greater than 17. Now let's write our else condition. Else print the value is not greater than 3 or 17. Now let's run this code. See, I got the output as the value is greater than 3. If let's say I'll write a is equal to 1 and I'll run this code, I'll get the value is not greater than 3 or 17 because both these conditions are not satisfied, hence it has jumped to the else condition. There can be number of Elif statements. Last else is executed only if all the condition inside the Elifs fail. Now let's see what are loops in Python. So sometimes we want to repeat a set of statements in our program. For instance, let's say I want to print 1 to 1000. So loops make it easy for a programmer to tell the computer which set of instructions to repeat and how. Python programming language provides us loops to handle the looping requirements. Python provides 3 ways for executing the loops, while all the ways provide similar basic functionality. They differ in their syntax and condition checking time. Now let's see what is while loop. So in Python, while loop is used to execute a block of statements repeatedly until a given condition is satisfied, and when that condition becomes false, the line immediately after the loop in the program is executed. Now let's see how while loop works. So let's say I is equal to 0, then I'll write while the condition I is greater than 10, print yes. So this program says that the value of I is 0, and while the value of I is greater than 10, that is if the value of I is greater than 10, it will print yes. So let's run this code. Since the value of I is not greater than 10, so we did not get the output yes. Now if I change this value to, let's say, 17, and then I'll run the code. Let's see, I got the value yes. It will keep on printing yes till I don't stop it, because our loop is continuously working. Now we'll do one quiz. We'll write a program to print 1 to 50 numbers using while loop. So first I is equal to 0, then while I is less than 50. Okay, let's take less than equal to 50, so that even 50 gets printed. Then print the value of I is equal to I plus 1. So now we'll run this code. So see, right from 0 to 50, the numbers are printed. So now let's see what is a for loop. So for loop is used to iterate through a sequence like list, tuple or string. For loops are used for sequential traversal, like for example traversing a list or string or array. So in Python there is no C style for loop. There is for in loop, which is similar to for each loop in other languages. So let us learn now how to use for loop for sequential traversals. So now let's see what is for loop. So we'll make a string of we'll make a list of fruits. Banana, watermelon, then grapes, apple, then mangoes, okay, so we have prepared one list of fruits. Then we'll write for item in fruits, print the item. So now this function will print what all items are there in this list. Let's run this code. See, I got my output of all the fruits which I have put it in the list. Now let's see what is range function. So the range function in Python is used to generate a sequence of numbers. We can also specify the start, stop and step size. For I in range, let's say 8, print I. So let's run this code. So see, we got the value from 0 to 7. So it has started from by default 0. Now if I want the numbers to be printed from 1 to 7, I'll write 1, 8. So now I'll run this code. See now. So my numbers are printed from 1 to 7. So now we'll add the step size over here. Let's say I want the numbers to be printed, like the step size to be should be 2, let's say, and now I'll run this code. So now I got the output like 1, 3, 5, 7. So I don't have 2, I don't have 4 because we have given the step size as 2. So by default the step size is 1. Okay, so now let's see what is for loop with else. So an optional else can be used with a for loop if the code is to be executed when the loop exhausts. Like let's say for I in range, let's say 1 to 8. Print I. Else print, say done. Now let's run this code. So here in the output you can see I got my values from 1 to 7 and then I also got done. So how does it executes basically? When the value of I is in the range of 1 to 8, it will print the values. Once the value of I is 8, it will come out of that for loop and then it will execute the else statement. So using loops in Python automates and it repeats the task in an efficient manner. But sometimes there may arise a condition where you want to skip the loop completely, skip an iteration or ignore that condition. So these can be done by loop control statements. Now what are loop control statements? So loop control statements change execution from its normal sequence. So when execution leaves a scope, all the automatic objects that were created in that scope are destroyed. Now let's see what is break statement. So break statement in Python is used to bring the control out of the loop when some external condition is triggered. Break statement is put inside the loop body. So we'll see how break statement works. So here I'll give an external condition that if I is equal to 5, then break. Now I'll run this code. So see, I got my output from 1 to 5 and not from 1 to 7. And once the value of I is equal to 5, it breaks the loops and it comes out of the loop. Now let's see how the continue statement works. So continue is used to stop the current iteration of the loop and continue with the next one. So it instructs the program to skip that particular iteration. So now I'll write one external condition. If I is equal to 5, then instead of break here I'll write continue. And then we'll print I. Okay, so now we'll run this code. So see, I got the output from 1 to 7 but except 5. Now let's see what is pass statement. So pass is a null statement in Python. It instructs to do nothing. So let's say let's make a list of L is equal to, let's say 1, 5, 9, 8, and then I'll write for item in L pass. Now we'll run this code. So see, I got no output, that is null output. So today we have seen what are conditional expressions and loops in Python. So we have attached an assignment in the description. Try to solve it, and if you have any doubts, do let us know in the comment section. Stay tuned for the next tutorial of Python. For more such interesting videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you.